That's actually the real reason you deserve to go, because what kind of atrocity did you commit against baking, ma'am? Hey guys, it's your girl Aisha, aka Geek X Tech Chic, and we are back with another reaction to Motherland, Fort Salem. We're now into episode 7, which is called She Returns. I'm really hoping that the she in question here is Raelle, because we've been missing our girl. She is kind of central to the show. We all know there's reasons why she hasn't been around, but I think it'd be lovely if she could come back now. If, of course, I'm hoping that whatever happens, that it was in Taylor Hickey's best interest regardless. But if that does mean Raelle, I'm very pumped about that. She has a lot of explaining to do. We need to know what's going on the mycelium side of things, if she's even found out anything. But I'm hoping that the writing has incorporated something for Raelle to have learned or benefited from, outside of obviously just being away, to kind of, you know, offset the fact that we've been missing our lead character for so long. But anyhow, last episode, we had a few things move around. The main things being that now the military, or I should say the government, has turned on the session. The treaty is now null and void, and they're going to invade the session. But of course, this is just all part of Camaria's plan to get all the witches. And the session witches were kind of untouchable in a public eye for the longest time. But now, thanks to this whole hullabaloo, they're able to finally have a reason to invade. Of course, they want the military to go in and do it, because then he's like, great, the witches can kill each other, but we all know that the witches are not down for that. They're doing the best that they can to fight without being obvious, but we'll have to see how that all goes down. We also saw that, actually, I forgot to bring this up in the review of the last episode. Abigail now knows that the president's daughter is kind of sort of alive. Like, her status is still very much a question mark. I think it's a bit like Alder. Like, she's not really human, but she is. She's here, but she's not. But the point is, the fact that she's still around, I think, is going to be material, because we saw a couple of episodes ago that with Anacastia's boyfriend, he was really drilling into Blanton about how, you know, his daughter was sacrificed, and how, you know, he knows that he loved his daughter despite all of this. And we saw that the president had a little bit of guilt going on there. He didn't like the fact that, you know, he was bringing up these emotions. So I do think that bringing that girl out at the right time, not only absolves the fugitives from being charged, but it also allows for Blanton to actually kind of come to terms with how messed up it was what he did. Right now, he's kind of going with the plan because he feels like, you know, the sacrifice is already made. She's gone. I got to move forward. But if he finds out she's still there and there's a chance to possibly get her back, I feel like that could definitely, again, work to our favor. And outside of that, we saw that Alder and Willa are kind of going around. They stop the drilling on the mycelium so the mycelium can do some healing. But as I said in the episode, I'm not sure how much of a permanent solution that is. I do think that it's going to just, like, the Camarilla are big enough now that they can just resume as soon as they get time. So they've managed to give themselves a little bit of an inch, but they're definitely going to have to make sure they do the most with this inch, because the Camarilla will come back in full force and start things up again if they can. So lots of stuff going on, as I mentioned. Very excited to get into this episode and see where we're going to go from here. But before I do, if it's your first time to my channel, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. I do reactions here, and if you do like watching reactions to shows like these and watching me react to those shows like these, please go ahead, hit that subscribe button and join the family. We'd love to have you. We're on a march to 10K. We're getting very close every single day. Would love to have you there. And if you like this video, I'd very much appreciate it if you cast a little spell on the like button. Just helps a girl out with being seen. Also, leave comments below. I love interacting with you guys. And the same goes for those of you who've been here before. Thank you. Thank you so much. Join the coven today. Hit that button. All right, that out of the way, let's get into the episode right about now.
Why did you bring me here? We used to do this every Sunday when I was home. Remember?
That's not what she's talking about. Don't change the subject.
Well, then I can leave. If you want to. It's your choice.
Oh, thank you for remembering.
We can have our Sundays again. Every day in between.
That's selfish. Raelle is like 19 years old.
That's why I need to go back, Mom.
Right? Like, she's 19. You're asking her to give up on life now? Ma'am, what kind of mama are you?
Come on. She's waited long enough.
But I get it. I understand that moms, you know, in a perfect world, moms would put all their babies in bubble wrap and have them in idyllic peace at all times. But
I love you.
I mean, truthfully, her mom's young too. I mean, woman's probably in her 40s and she's already gone, but you can't want your 19-year-old daughter to give up on life, especially when she's got one. You know what I'm saying?
You should know. The mother will call on you at the end.
What does that
What
mean?
do you mean?
Really? We got time for riddles now still? Okay. That's rude.
Mom!
Too late. Mama said you could have stayed. I would have told you if you'd stayed. Interesting that she mentioned that she won't be able to bring her back again. Alder, well, actually, I guess Alder only got one. I guess maybe you only get one. I'm thinking of gaming terms, right? You get like one battle res, and that's it, which is weird. I mean, the mycelium, from the sounds, I think should be able to bring you back multiple times, but maybe there's a reason for all that. I guess it just means don't die, Rael. Don't die.
The Iroquois Territory Marshal is stationed at a border crossing east of here. You better hurry.
You're not coming with us?
No!
The council's called an emergency meeting.
She's like, this is still my home.
There have been some complaints again. About the smell. We'll talk to her.
Oh.
No matter how hard I try, there's nothing but silence.
You've done everything you can. Even
Yes.
pulled Willa back from the dead. Just have some faith.
Right? And open a window.
You're a part of the unit now, and we need your help.
Yeah.
But what if Rhea will find you? And
Yes.
until then, she'd want you fighting alongside us.
And not stinking up the place with dead animals. Like, do this outside.
What do you want me to do?
Clean this up, first of all, and open a damn window.
Oh, it's scary times, I admit, but we must not be afraid, cousin.
Those look dry.
You went behind all our backs with this. You want a war? Is that it?
What I want is to avoid having our lands taken from us.
Again.
You should have told us sooner, but we're willing to hear you out.
Thank you.
That was the most Canadian oat I've ever heard.
Mac?
She's all right. Just keep her away from rooftops.
What are you doing here?
Yeah, deserve that one.
People won't be getting much sleep in the days to come.
Unless we find Wade and end this now.
It's not gonna be that simple, Abigail.
Support my army. And together we can fight back as one.
That's kind of part of the
For
problem.
the land of the Great River. For each other.
Ah, there's your spy. I should have known she was too nice. Damn. Did she forget that there was a spy?
Only the council can disengage the wards. They'll hold. I need to get back out there. Contacting the marshal.
Council about to take them down right now.
The wards went down at the exact perfect moment.
I thought only the council could deactivate them.
Exactly.
They knew all about how my territory was kept out of the big mining contracts, how we had no good land on the water, all the issues I brought to the
See, this
council year
sucks, but this is so real. This is so real of why a lot of these people who've had so much stolen from them cannot unite and get their shit together.
They just want to get those damn girls and then they'll be on their way.
No.
Don't worry. I'm no more interested in being recolonized than you are.
Too late for that.
Have you learned nothing from history? The treaty is broken. And we're all vulnerable now. Even you.
Yep. You're gonna die. You're gonna die, Millie, with your dry ass cakes. That's actually the real reason you deserve to go, because what kind of atrocity did you commit against baking, ma'am?
Just so you know, we close in 10 minutes. But feel free to peruse.
Why are you locking? Oh, this is...
Hello?
This is Alder. A knife? A knife! Okay.
Let's go have a look, shall we?
Stay ahead of her. Good. Alder don't trust him. I hope she saw that picture. Oh, does she know who he is? Oh, she did. She did see him.
We are coming in.
Sorry. You're trying to be a villain and I'm not about it.
What just happened?
His armor. Must be the same tech from the cage Hurst kept me in.
Okay, so no direct work. We can take him.
Stand
Donna.
down.
Calm down, Abby.
Your mother was clear. Avoid bloodshed on both sides.
My mother will understand. Or she won't, but this is what I have to do.
All right.
You did what you did out of love for Ariel. Your love was brave, it was fearless. Mine was selfish.
Not anymore, it's not.
Glad you know that. Growth. We appreciate it.
It's difficult to explain. But was she okay?
Let's not talk about it right
the
now.
world with the witch bomb. I don't know when or why, but I know
This was not the time to have this combo.
It's time.
After you've fully shaken her to her core.
That was this life, Santos. Not so many years ago.
I've left that all behind. Started my little store. It's always been my dream.
I'm not interested in your dreams.
Picture?
I was born into the Camarilla, you know. Never
I
had
don't
a
care.
choice.
Just give me the information. Don't care about your history.
I just want to live out the last years of my life in peace. Leave all that violence in the past.
Please don't buy this, Alder. He didn't even flinch. Woo! Woo! My lady parts.
On my command. Ready. And.
Oops. Questions? Now y'all have to act like you got lost for the next 2 hours, okay?
What's your name, soldier?
Officer Cadet Guadalupe Cortez. Call me Lupe.
Okay, Lupe.
Obfuscate, subvert, and undermine Jarrett's objectives, while maintaining the semblance of following orders. Is that clear, soldiers?
That's right. Do what women do, what we always do. We act like they're in charge when we're actually pulling the strings. Ultimate witchcraft, you know what I'm saying? Lupe gonna get it done. Lupe gonna get it done.
Get to the back door. Trust me.
Oh, you better run with your ugly pink jumper.
Keep going, Miss Longhorse.
Woo! Tally Mat is fun.
Sometimes you eat the bear, Millie. Sometimes the bear eats you.
This sight thing is fun. It's fun.
There must be another way to retrieve it.
Afraid not. Unless you've a way to travel back in time.
Funny you should ask. I don't know.
I forgot about that.
Right? Alder?
I saw the real one. Braided leather.
Please. I beg.
I know you did not just stab this woman and be like, please don't kill me.
Perdóname.
Now you're talking to God? You're saying, God, I just sinned and I know I just did, but please just don't let me die now. I mean, I don't feel bad. And here's the reason why. He might have actually changed his ways, but you know, they say that actions have consequences. It does come back. What did she carve into his chest? But yeah, like the thing is, you can't live a life of a lot of violence and hate and assume that it's not going to come back to bite you in some way at some point, no matter how repentant you are. And if he was really repentant, he would have just surrendered. Spree work.
I do solemnly pledge to protect and defend the United States of America against all enemies, foreign or domestic.
What is this?
Pledge of Allegiance.
You will obey my orders or be charged.
Excuse me, they're being patriotic right now. You can't exactly get mad at them for being patriotic.
To go against them, and lethal work will have to be used. So be it.
They don't know about the vests.
Do you have any idea who I am? What you're doing?
I'm sorry, Councilwoman Bear Killer. I wish there was another way.
I'm not actually here.
Congratulations. You just caught yourself an even bigger prize.
Oh. She didn't know about the vest.
I love this armor.
Alder said not today, bitch. Or maybe it's Rael? That's right. Bestie said not my bellwether unit, not today. Interesting. His vest wasn't able to go against her work. Good to know. That's beautiful. Can we move? Let's go. Other people, your girlfriend's being captured. Let's go.
I got you.
I thought she was healed. Why is she so weak?
This is just the beginning of the bloodshed.
Which is why we'd like to enlist in your resistance force.
I thought you were a soldier of the U.S. Army, Bellwether.
Not anymore.
Not today.
Glad to hear it.
She just likes to fight, quite frankly, and the fight's here, so.
The mycelium took you?
Until I was healed, yeah.
Just like Scylla said.
Where is she?
As usual, poor Dill's just standing on the outside like a weirdo. Oh my God, bring his sister back so he has someone to hug.
The only thing more powerful than the witch bomb is the first song.
You think it could stop this from happening?
I
It
mean,
may be the only thing that can.
let's try. You know what I'm saying?
You're going to learn to see in the past.
Okay, we got a little time traveler right here. Tally, our little Cromer.
They call it an interrogation center.
Wouldn't be my first time.
We've been calling it the slaughterhouse.
None of the witches that go in ever come out again.
At least not with their vocal cords. Yeah, this might have been a bad plan. I mean, if she's got to make a sacrifice, this is the most noble of them for her to make, but Raelle will be devastated. She's had a lot of loss. I don't think they're going to make her lose her mom and her girl in the same season, but who knows? Oh, wow. Okay, guys, that was episode 7, which was called She Returns. And I was right. It was Raelle. Glad to see she's back in the fight for now. Again, I don't necessarily expect her to be fully engaged, potentially the way she would have been beforehand, knowing the situation that had her away in the first place. But it's just good to see her back, even if she is kind of at a half capacity. And like I said, this show is about her and the Bellwether unit. You need to have the whole Bellwether unit for it to be a complete story. So I'm glad that she's back, and we'll see what happens going forward as far as how she's going to be able to contribute. But it's good to have our original trio back. Biggest takeaways from me in this episode, I kind of like that if Abigail has to fight, which we've seen, she's been itching to do so all season. She's not very good with just sitting back and waiting and planning and going the slower way of things. Then maybe it's better she joined this militia and she gets an opportunity to fight for what she believes in. I mean, technically she's considered a traitor by the U.S. Army at this point, so she may as well join a militia. She's not really working for them anymore. If she really was 100% army bound at this point, she'd have to turn herself in, correct? So I think this is a good way for her to expend this energy that she seems to have for wanting to battle something. And obviously her skills are going to be helpful. Plus she's probably going to pick up some new stuff from these session witches that she's never known before. So that's good. At least then it also keeps her in the loop with what the session witches are doing, which I think is important since this is their territory. I mean, after all, this is something that I think is new for her in particular, because, you know, Raelle's been there before, Scylla's been before, but she hasn't. So as far as what, I guess we had very little of Alder this episode, which is fine, I guess. But she is, of course, still doing what she's supposed to be doing, which is figuring out this first song. See that she went to a Camarilla historian, which makes sense because the sad reality is that Alder discovered now and was starting to discover before she died is that the Camarilla have definitely been keeping better tabs on what's going on with witches than even the army has. And there's a lot of reasons for that, obviously. I know it wasn't necessarily for lack of interest on Alder's part, but smart for her to go to the enemy because, hey, right? Like, the enemy clearly knows what they're doing. They clearly have had a lot of intel for a long time to do what they've been doing. We already know that from season 1, they were tracking down the genealogy of these witches and killing them. So they have information that even the army doesn't have. So smart of her to go to this historian. He was just a mess. Like, I half understand why he grabbed that knife. Like, after everything that he and his family have done, he had real reason to be scared of Alder. But at the same time, as I said before, if he was truly repentant, he was truly sorry for everything that he did and he wanted to turn over a new leaf, then he should have been willing to take whatever fate Alder wanted to deal to him, because he and his, not him, well, actually, no, he did right up until, like he said, I don't even know, so many years ago, he was still helping the Camarilla, doing the most horrible things. From the sounds of things, he didn't realize how bad it was, but still, he was still a participant. And the fact that he just thought he could just step away from it now because he's done, it's like, as I said, actions have repercussions. And if you live a life of violence and blood and just doing terrible things to people, karma, whatever you want to call it, it comes back. Like you put that energy out there, it's going to come back to you in some form. And as I said, if he truly was repentant, he would have just been willing to take whatever Alder dole out to him. But I really don't think Alder even wanted to kill him until he did something stupid. So that fact that he actually attacked her in the end says to me that he still wasn't completely over all the prejudices he had. Very hard to do that when you were raised. Like he said, he was born into the Camarilla. So he would have been raised with that hatred from a very young age. It probably still would have vestiges for the rest of his life. But now he's dead. I'm not that mad at Alder for doing what she did, especially considering that he is keeping a trophy of the death of someone she cared about. Like, there was definitely an emotional reaction on her part, but one I think we can all understand. Outside of that, the council being rescued, I'm glad that happened. Tally being on the ball. And of course, I don't know, I guess forgiving that one session witch. It's kind of stupid, you know, the whole situation, why she explained why she was the traitor, why she did what she did. As I said in the episode, or I touched on, it's sad, but this is kind of one of the reasons why people who have suffered being overtaken have had such a hard time in uniting and working to get certain things back. It's sad because she didn't realize that in her ploy to be like, oh, I'm helping my lands get this. It's like, but you're doing that by screwing over other people, by letting other people die. Like, how, do you not see how this doesn't work, how it's backwards and hypocritical? But we're human, and unfortunately, sometimes we're very short-sighted, and she figured out a little too late that that was a big mistake. But I think it was nice that, you know, they didn't make it a big thing. They were like, look, we got bigger issues here. We can't fight. We're going to let this go for now. I'm sure when it's all said and done, she's probably going to have some more repercussions to deal with. But for now, it's not about taking out anything on her. It's about protecting everybody. And yeah, I think outside of that, Raelle being back, like I said, there's not much to say because she was very much in the tail end of this episode. But I think this is something that obviously the Bellwether unit needed. I think for the other witches to know that Raelle is back, that's helpful. Raelle definitely has some crazy ass powers. We'll see how many of those she's able to tap into and use, because one thing I noticed, as I said, is whatever she did to that soldier, his little repellent vest did not work against. And I think it's because they don't have any real examples of mycelium work, right? Everything that the Camarilla uses in their armor or even in their vocal things are based on the witches that they've been able to study. And sadly, the military has got a handbook, so it's pretty easy to study everything that these witches would know. But the stuff coming out of the mycelium is old. It's not known. Remember, what's his name? What is it? Hearst. Sorry, Hearst. We know that he's wanted Tareem for that reason. He wanted session witches, like he wanted the spree, because he wants all the work, right? They realize there's a lot of work that they don't know how to repel against yet. So that's why he wants to keep collecting them and learning more about them. And so thankfully Raelle is, and what she's doing with the mycelium work is something that none of them have any access to. And this is again the other reason why, as Alder said, this first song is so important, because it's old. It's the oldest work there is, apparently. And there would be nothing, like no one would really understand fully how it works, and especially the Camarilla. So I get why she's saying to Tally, like with Tally panicking, understandably, about her vision, because everyone keeps dismissing it, except for maybe her mom. But like I said, Tally, it's like, rather than sitting there trying to think of how you as one person can subvert it, let's get to the first song. Like, let's at least see if we can find something that might possibly work as a weapon against this witch bomb, rather than just panicking about the fact that it's going to come. So hopefully her little trip to the past will be interesting. So that's the other thing I'm looking at, is that we're almost to the finale here. And it's like, you can't, as I said, stamp out an idea. The Camarilla's anti-witch ideals are still going to exist. We saw that with the last episode with the council from all over the world of people trying to get rid of these witches. But obviously we can stamp out a good chunk of the Camarilla's work potentially with this first song. But it just makes me wonder, like, what's the next step? What is it going to be? Like, the Camarilla didn't die all those years ago, despite all their wiping out almost all of them. But if they wiped them out again, what happens next? What's the answer? How do we progress from here? How do we get to a world where witches are accepted and not just feared? And I think that's a lot of work that needs to be done. But we saw at the end that Nicta is working with Anacostia, obviously to go find Wade, but also I think Nicta's doing her best to try to fix a lot of the damage that she did. As I mentioned earlier in the episode, I don't think she understood that in her vengeance against the army, that what she was doing actually created the perfect opportunity for the Camarilla to use what witches, the worst of what witches can do, to turn public opinion against them. And so there's a lot of work for her to do as well, to rebuild people's trust in witches and understanding that not all of them are like that, and that they can't all be lumped together by the worst of her or her actions. Another great episode. Definitely looking forward to seeing what we're going to do now that our trio is back together, and I enjoyed watching it a lot. I hope you guys enjoyed watching along with me. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, and we will see you in the next video.